The first million is hard, but the second million is inevitable. And when I learned that, and of course the reason for that is this, it's not, as Jim Rohn used to say, he said, it's not becoming a millionaire that's important, it's the person that you must become in order to become a millionaire.
Oftentimes, the mind is flooded with realizations that were for some reason harder to come to when you were at a lower elevation. At this moment, most of you need some realizations because right now you have some big decisions to make. Right now, I urge you, in your breath, in your eyes, in your consciousness, invest in the importance of this moment.
So they say if you take 100 people at graduation from college or graduation from high school, one of those people will become wealthy in the course of their lifetime. 3 will become well off. 15 will have a good deal of money set aside, and 80% will be working, dead or broke at the end of their careers at the age of 65. So when I was in my 30s, I did not graduate from high school. I finished in the half of the class that made the top half possible. They say everybody's good for something, even if it's to be a bad example. And I was a bad example. They used to say, if you don't watch out, you'll end up like Tracy. If you don't watch out, you'll end up like Brian Tracy. And that would scare people into doing their homework. And so I left school in the 12th grade. I got a leaving certificate, not a diploma, a leaving certificate, and it says goodbye. That's one of those little emojis waving goodbye. And so my first job was washing dishes in the back of a small hotel for $1.12 an hour. I remember when I got promoted to $1.14 an hour, that was a major event in my life. And for years, I worked in laboring jobs and I washed cars. I washed dishes until I lost that job, and then I washed cars until I lost that job, and then I washed floors for a janitorial service until I washed that job. And when you're young, losing is another word for involuntary career redeployment. That's where you get a chance to explore new jobs unexpectedly. Today, they give you 2 weeks' notice. In those days, they give you about 2 minutes' notice. We won't need your services anymore. Here's your check. There's the door. Goodbye. And so I would go from place to place and worked, and I lived in my car, and I did all kinds of things. But I always had this fantasy, undeserved by the way, that I was going to become wealthy someday until I had this opportunity to speak. And as I began to study the subject, I learned some wonderful things that they're so simple, it means that everybody can become wealthy. What you need is a dependable source of cash flow. That's really important. And then the question is, what do you do with the cash flow? And that's a whole nother thing. So I'm not going to talk to you about that. But what I found was that there were 21 secrets. And so I recorded these and I gave them as talks and so on. Everybody loves the subject of becoming wealthy. And people started to come back to me after as little as a year and say, because of your talk, I'm wealthy now. I'm a millionaire now. And they would come back and they had their faces were shining, and sometimes they had tears in their eyes. Because I struggled and struggled and struggled. 1 year after I listened to your talk and began to practice those things, I became wealthy. Here's a couple of ideas, and then I'm going to give you 7 keys to becoming an outstanding leader in this industry and to becoming one of the highest paid people in our society and becoming wealthy. And they're wonderful thing is they're not complicated. I'm not asking you to learn rocket science or anything. All you have to do is do simple things. What they found in the first major studies of thousands of self-made millionaires, they said, what is your secret? What did you do differently? And they all said something similar. All the self-made. By the way, we now have 2,595 billionaires in the world today. And we didn't have billionaires when I started off studying. Maybe had J. Paul Getty, the oil billionaire, but there weren't very many billionaires. Now there's 2,500. And 87% of them, according to Forbes, are self-made. These are people who started with nothing, Many of them were immigrants. They came to this country with nothing, and they started working, and they started doing certain things in a certain way, which we'll talk about, and they became, first of all, millionaires. Here's a one-liner for you, because many of you are already millionaires, is that the first million is hard, but the second million is inevitable. And when I learned that, and of course the reason for that is this, it's not, as Jim Rohn used to say, he said, it's not becoming a millionaire that's important, it's the person that you must become in order to become a millionaire. Yeah. You have to become a completely different person. You have to develop character beyond 99% of the people in the world. You have to develop honesty and discipline and quality relationships and the willingness and the ability to work and set priorities and all kinds of stuff. Because without that, nothing is possible. So once you earn your first million, then you are the person who can earn a lot of money. And the second million it's never easy. Never easy, but it's easier. The first million is really hard. The second million, not so much. So I found that there were 21 secrets. The first one of all is dream big dreams. I couldn't believe it. Every single person who finally made it said the turning point in their life, they were driving down the road of life, not making much progress, which is that 80-20 rule that you hear. 80% of people make 20% of the money, and 20% of the people make 80% of the money. And what happens at a certain point in life, they change and go on a different road. And here's the turning point. It is make a decision. Make a decision that I'm going to become wealthy. I'm going to become a millionaire. And I will work hard, long hours. I will sacrifice. I will pay the price. I will do everything that is necessary. Make a decision that, by gum, I'm going to do it. And I realized at the age of 36 that I'd wished and hoped and prayed, but I never made a decision. I thought, oh yeah, maybe someday it'll happen. Maybe there'd be a miracle on something. So I bought penny stocks or mining stocks, and I did all kinds of stuff, and not a darn thing happened. And then I found that the two things that millionaires say, number one is I was not more talented or smarter. I didn't get better grades than other people. He said, but I was willing to work harder than anyone else. I was willing to work harder than anyone else. I was willing to work harder, start earlier, work harder, stay later than anyone else. And you know, self-made millionaires on average work about 59 hours a week. They work about 6 days a week at 10 hours a day, or 7 or 5 days a week at 12 hours. There are very few wealthy people who work 5 days a week. In fact, there probably aren't any. They may work 5 days a week, but it's way after they've achieved their financial goals. The second thing they found is that they were frugal. Is they earned the money, but they didn't spend it all. Is they saved the money. Because there's a time in your life where you can be generous. You can buy things, you can take trips, you can get new cars and new homes and a home in the mountains and so on, but not early. I had a banker once who was very helpful to me. I still remember, his name was Alan. He said, we do banking for owners of small and medium-sized businesses, and we can always tell when the business is going to get into trouble. Is the owner of the business decides to take all his money and build a new house. He said, you can always tell because it's too soon. Is they spend their money too soon. If they waited another 5 years, they could have bought or built a house without a problem. But what they do is they start to get some progress and they start to go a little bit wild. So your job is to become a self-made millionaire, and LifeVantage's job is to help you get there, and my job is to tell you what to do. I'm going to show you the recipes and the formulas that you can use. And sometimes it just takes one choice. And remember, 87% of millionaires and billionaires are self-made. They started with nothing. And nobody's smarter than you, and nobody's better than you. Nobody's smarter than you, nobody's better than you. If somebody else can do it, especially with all the disadvantages that many people start off with, if someone else can do it, you can do it as well. That's the proof. Abraham Lincoln once said that some become wealthy is proof that all can become wealthy. It's just the very fact that a person does well, it's proof. They started with nothing and they became wealthy. Well, there's the proof. You can do it as well. Just do the same things over and over again. So I wanted to share with you what I call the 7 C's. And I began putting together formulas. And my formulas are 3s, 7s, 10s, 12s, and 21s. I wrote 22 books, which had 21 great ideas to achieve this particular goal. 21 great ideas to double your income, 21 great ideas to live to be 100, 21 great ideas to be an outstanding manager, 21 great ideas to meet and marry the man or woman of your dreams. That's very popular. And I just did hundreds and hundreds of hours of research and wrote down all these one-liners. And people said just one-liner out of 21 changed their lives forever. So I'm very, very hungry. I've spent about 150,000 hours studying. I study all the time. Yesterday on my way up here from San Diego. My son lives in Las Vegas. I probably read 3.5 hours, plus 2 hours before leaving, and I'll do another 4 hours of reading today, as I just constantly taking in new information. Because one idea combined with your other ideas and with your opportunity here can transform your life forever. Yeah. And you just have to say, is this the idea? Is this the idea? So the first C is the C of clarity. Clarity is my favorite word in success. It's my favorite word in business. I have done consulting for more than 1,000 corporations, large companies worldwide, companies like IBM and General Motors and PepsiCo and Bank of America. I mean, big companies. And I've also worked with more than 10,000 small and medium-sized companies. And what I found is in every single situation, problems occur when the company becomes unclear about what it is they're doing or how it is they're doing it. And so I've developed a program which is really just a fun program for me intellectually. It's called the 2-Day MBA. And it shows 10 different factors of a company. And these are the ones that I learned when I went to university, back to university in my 30s. And I find that all problems come from lack of clarity. What is your product? It's the first question you ask. Who is your customer? What does your customer consider to be more valuable than anything else? How are you superior to your competitors? What can you do to attract more customers? What can you do to close those customers? I'll come to this in a second, but basically it's clarity, lack of clarity. Now here's something else I learned, and they did a study of 50 owners of companies, successful owners of companies like yourselves. And they asked them, what is the very best time management or business tool that you've ever discovered? 49 out of the 50 held up a yellow writing pad. Yellow writing pad, sort of like this. And this is what they did. This is how they planned their day. They made a list, to-do list. Today's date, they wrote down everything they had to do. They always work from a list. Always work from a list. Always work from a list. If you don't work from a list, it's very much like taking your hands off the wheel of your car going down a winding road in the mountains. What happens is your life's going to go up and you're instantly going to start doing irrelevant and unimportant and useless things. And at the end of the day, you'll be exhausted and you'll accomplish nothing. Now, I know this doesn't apply to anybody here, but it does happen. And so therefore, clarity is really important. We say in life that in life you have turning points. And I have written and published now 86 books because I developed a formula for writing and publishing books. I have contracts for 4 more books, and I have 2 more books on top of the contracts. I haven't had time to get to it because my legs have sort of distracted me for a while, but I have book after book. Most authors, professional authors, write 1 book every 2 or 3 years. And I write and publish as many as 4 books a year. Every 90 days, I write a book. And I publish it, and I'm now published, I'm happy to say, by the biggest publishers and the best publishers in the world. And people say, I'm going to write a book and become rich. You don't write a book and become rich. You write several books. And you become well off. Because 1 book will get people's attention. 2 books will prove that the first one wasn't a fluke. 3 will very often be the book that actually earns you some money, and then 4 and 5 and 6. So people say, well, how can you write so many books? And I said, well, I have a system. I use a system like a recipe in the kitchen, and I follow the recipe. And the system requires clarity. What is the book about? Who is the book for? What are the subjects in the book that are not covered somewhere else? What is the system and methodology and process? I don't write fiction books. I only write nonfiction, which are basically do this and get this result. And then I will do hundreds of hours and hundreds of hours. So anyway, going back to my 2-day MBA, what I'd found was that the number one reason why businesses are not successful, we're not talking about Fortune 500 companies, we're talking about one-person companies, is that they're not clear about their business. They're not clear about every step of the business because they don't think on paper. Think on paper. The most powerful tool in the world is you, a pen, and a piece of paper. This is the greatest wealth creator in the world. And so you never pick up the phone. You never answer the phone without something to write down. You make notes all the time. Make notes. Now you can actually capture all your notes on your phone. But what I have found is that if you write it down, it records into your brain, and your chances are you'll remember it. I found that if your goals are not in writing, and one of the things I taught, and I've taught more than 5 million people, is write your goals down on paper and write them down in the present tense as though you had already achieved them. I earn X number of dollars in 2019. I am a self-made millionaire by January 1st, 2025. I weigh X number of pounds. I live in a 5,000 square foot house with a separate bedroom for each one of my children. In other words, write it down as though it were already a fact, and you're just reporting it. You're just reporting the fact. Your subconscious mind is marvelous, but what it does is it only thrives on goals that you pronounce in the now, in the present tense. And so you now have a dynamism. It's called I'll think of the word, but it's a dynamism in your brain where your brain knows that you're only earning this amount of money, but now you're saying, but I earn this amount of money. Your brain knows that you're not a millionaire, but now you're saying, I am a millionaire. And so your brain goes to work to close this gap between where you are and where you want to be. And your brain starts to work 24 hours a day. And it works and it gives you ideas. Each person here has what is called the superconscious mind. And this mind has been talked about for 5,000 years, and some call it the oversoul, and some people call it the God mind. Some people call it God, spirit, whatever it happens to be. But there's this incredible power in the universe that you can tap into. You could just reach into it by simply writing down a goal clearly on a piece of paper, and then this mind goes to work 24 hours a day to bring it into your life. You all read the books about the law of attraction and so on. Well, the fact is that once you are clear on a goal and you write it down, not type it, but write it down, is you force this energy field of attraction, and it starts to pull into your life everything that you need to make the goal clear. But if it's not in writing, not a darn thing happens. And so I'm going to ask you, I sometimes ask people, say, please, 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 just do one thing for me, is write down your goals. After this seminar, follow the instructions. I will give you an instruction. And by the way, we made available my goal setting formula online for everybody here, so everybody can go online to LifeVantage and get it. Because it will save you 10 to 20 years of hard work. Your life will transform. It's almost like taking some magic elixir. Your whole life will be different. So anyway, what you do is, I said in life, every person has a turning point, and the turning point comes when you set upon a major goal. When you decide upon a major goal, and since you're going to be working for money in business all your life, you might as well set a goal to earn a lot of money. You see, in life, you can earn a lot or you can earn a little. And if you have a choice, I recommend to you that you choose a lot, okay? Because if you don't choose a lot, by default, you automatically get a little. And there's 80% of the population out there is wandering around and complaining about successful people, wah, 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 life's not fair, and so on. No, because once you are clear about your goal, you start to see all kinds of opportunities, things that you can do that you hadn't thought of doing that move you faster toward the goal and move the goal toward you. You activate this field of magnetism and you start to attract into your life people and circumstances who help you to achieve the goal, and you help to achieve their goals. I mean, it's the most amazing thing. And it is true, and it has been true for thousands of years, and it is the great secret of success. So let us talk about the 7 C's. And I could spend all day on these. But number 1 C is clarity, is being absolutely clear who you are, which means what you want in life, what kind of a person you are, what you believe in, what's important to you, what you care about. You'll never be successful unless you're doing something that you enjoy and doing it well. Napoleon Hill threw this contribution onto the table in 1936. He said, do something that you love and do it well, and you'll never work another day for the rest of your life. You just never work again because you can hardly wait to get to work. You can hardly wait to do it because you love it. A turning point in my life, and I'm trying to give you a lot of stuff in the time that we have. A turning point in my life took place in about 1987. And I attended a seminar, and the speaker at the seminar talked about the importance of self-esteem. And what he said is your self-esteem is defined as how much you like yourself. And the more you like yourself, the more you like other people. And the more you like yourself, the more confidence you have, and the more willing you are to try different things. And the more you like yourself, the less afraid you are of making mistakes. So you're willing to take chances with the possibility that you won't be successful. The more you like yourself. And the way that you build up your self-esteem is you simply say, I like myself. I like myself. I like myself. Say it. Say it. I like myself. No. Don't suck your thumbs. Say it. Say, I like myself. Yeah. Wonderful. And the most powerful thing that you can do in this business is to help other people like themselves. And how do you help other people like themselves? You treat them well. You practice the golden rule. You treat them the way you would like other people to treat you. And so they feel valuable and important. And they want to be around you. And they want to accept your guidance. And they want to do what you instruct them to do. And they want to become successful as well. And so the more you like yourself, the more you like others. And the more you like others, the more they like you right back. And it becomes a positive upward spiral that makes you happy. The wonderful thing about Utah and the religious proclivities, if you like, which I admire so much, is the focus on the family and the focus on children. And the greatest thing that you can do for your children is to raise them up so they're self-confident and have high self-esteem. So they like themselves and value themselves and consider themselves to be worthwhile people. Isn't that true? And that's the most important thing in the world. I have been so blessed. I have the most wonderful wife. 40 years. Our anniversary is 40 years in June. And Rita, by the way, who just came up here to get a check and the flowers, she prefers the check to the flowers. She told me that. She is just celebrating her 40th anniversary. Isn't that great? 40th anniversary is great. So we have four wonderful children, and we have never criticized our children or punished our children in their entire lives. We've had a lot of heart-to-heart talks. But we've never punished them and never criticized them. We've never done anything to take away their self-esteem and self-confidence. We've always told them what wonderful children they are. And now 3 of the 4 are married. We have 7 grandchildren. And they say, my friend Charlie Jones used to say we have 7 grandchildren, all males except for 6. So I have 1 grandson and 6 grandchildren, 6 granddaughters, and so on. But that's the most wonderful thing in the world. And what I see is my children grew up and they married people with high self-esteem who treat them as though they are valuable and important people, and vice versa. And then they raise their children with high self-esteem. And you know how you can tell if you have a good relationship at any level of business anywhere is you laugh a lot. People in a good relationship laugh all the time. Absolutely. Thank you, sir. But it's so true. Isn't that true? Because you can only laugh spontaneously. You cannot decide to laugh or plan to laugh or decide how long you're going to laugh. It can only happen spontaneously. It has to come from your heart. It has to come from your mind. So the very best relationships with other people is where you just laugh all the time. And so you go into my home, and especially when my kids were growing up, my kids just laugh all the time. And the friends started to come over to our house all the time because in our house, everybody laughs. And the kids are happy. So anyway, I'm getting off track. Number 1 is clarity. So here are the 7 keys to setting and achieving goals. These 7 keys will make you rich. Key number 1 is to decide exactly what you want. Decide exactly what you want. And the great majority of people really don't know what they want. They want to be rich, but what does that mean? How much is that? When? How soon? What are you going to do to get it? So decide exactly what you want. If you're married, sit down with your spouse and decide exactly what you want. 2 people working together, a husband and wife working together on a single goal, multiply the power behind achieving that goal more than anything else. It's called the great mastermind, is the husband and wife working together. Anyway, number 1 is decide exactly what you want. Einstein said that if you cannot tell your goal to a 6-year-old child and have the 6-year-old child explain it to another 6-year-old child and both of them understand it, then you don't know what your goal is yourself. So ask yourself, is your goal so clear that you could tell it to a 6-year-old child and the 6-year-old child would not only understand what the goal, but could tell you how close you are to it? Great test. It's a great test. The Einstein test. Number 2 is write it down. Write it down, write it down, write it down. There's nothing more important than writing down your goals. Because if it's not written down, it's merely a fantasy. Now, they've done a whole series of studies at Harvard and Yale and Cornell and so on about the difference between students who type their notes and students who write their notes. The students who write their notes all get straight A's. The students who type their notes forget everything before the end of the day. Because writing forces you to use 3 abilities. Your kinesthetic ability, your physical ability of writing, your audio ability, you see it when you're writing it, and your auditory ability, you say it to yourself when you're writing. So you activate the 3 major parts of your brain simultaneously, like a laser beam from a space station, zap, onto a piece of paper, and your subconscious mind accepts it as a command, and your superconscious mind starts to work on it 24 hours a day. Just write it down, write it down. And it's the most amazing darn thing. If all you did was write down one goal and leave this conference, your life would be different forever. And because all kinds of things will start to happen. And you'll say, well, that's a coincidence. I just wrote that goal down when I was in that meeting this afternoon, and then I got this phone call or something in the mail, or I saw something on TV, or something. It's just phenomenal. So step number 1, decide what you want. Number 2, write it down. Number 3, set a deadline. Tell your subconscious when you want it. I want this by such and such a date. So every goal always ends with a use by date. In other words, I achieve this goal by this date. And you write it in the present tense. Number 3 is make a list. Number 4, step number 4 is make a list of everything that you can think of to do. Just make a list, and as you think of more things, add it to the list. Keep writing it down, and sometimes you'll think of something in the middle of the night, write it down, keep a pad of paper next to your bed, and quickly write it down so you don't forget it. Just write it down. That's number 4, and this is really important. It's the great turning point, like a massive ship turning in the ocean. Your whole life starts to turn when you write down a list of the steps you're going to have to take. I don't recommend other people's books because I've written so many myself, and I summarize hundreds of books that I have read over the years. But there is one book that had a great influence on me, and it's called the Checklist Manifesto. Has anybody read this book? The Checklist Manifesto. It was written by a doctor, an emergency ward doctor, and he talks about the value of checklists when you are trying to accomplish a goal, build a business, raise a child, whatever you want to do. He says, create a checklist. He said, everything in the world, this room, a car, swimming pool, everything follows a checklist. Everything requires a checklist to build it. And the wonderful thing about organizing a checklist before you begin work on a project it has an extraordinary effect on your life. And what he does is he teaches in the most entertaining way how people who did not use checklists died, went bankrupt, the most successful people in finance in the world, how they use checklists in order to organize their financial life, business people. Anyway, it's the one book that I would recommend. It's a short book. It's just fascinating reading. It's called The Checklist Manifesto. Anyway, so take your list of goals and organize your list by priority. Make a checklist. What's number one? What's number two? What's number three? And so on. And as you get more information, change the list, reorganize it, write it, move things up and down. Step number 6 is to take action on your list. Take action on the most important thing on your list. Do something, launch, get going, do it now, do it do it immediately. Get up and do something. It doesn't have to be a lot. It can be revising your papers, it can be making a phone call, it can be ordering a book, it could be something, but do something, which is sort of like the kickoff in a football game. Just kick the ball off as far as you can. And number 7, and this is going to make you rich, happy, popular, and thin. Number 7 is do something every day on your most important goal. Do something every day on your most important goal. So here's the exercise I'm going to give you to take home with you and do when you leave this. And by the way, from now on, whenever you bring on a new person, put them through this exercise. If they will not go through this exercise, do not waste a minute of your time with them, because they will never be successful if they won't follow your guidance. And here's the exercise. Take a clean sheet of paper and write down goals and today's date, and then write down 10 goals that you would like to accomplish in the next 12 months. Don't worry about 2 years or 10 years or 5 years. Just 10 goals you'd like to accomplish in the next 12 months, and write them in the present tense. Almost like you're submitting an order. And just write down, I earn, I achieve, I weigh, I drive such and such a car, I own, whatever it happens to be. And the goals will be financial goals, family goals, physical goals, and so on. Write down 10. And then you take this list of 10 and you say, if I had a magic wand and I could wave this magic wand and I could have any one goal on my list within 24 hours, which one goal would have the greatest positive impact on my life? Which one goal? And go over it. And usually this will jump out at you. It'll jump out at you like a spider in a horror movie. It'll grab you. And put a circle around that goal. And that's a goal you transfer to a clean sheet of paper, and then you follow the 7 steps. Write it down, set a deadline, make a list of everything you have to do to accomplish it, organize the list into a checklist, take action, and then do something every day. If you'll just do this simple exercise, then you'll all be rich. You'll all be rich. Nothing can stop you but yourself. So, number 2, the second C is the C of competence. And the C of competence says, it's very simple, is that you can only earn a lot of money if you're very good at what you do. And so one of the most important things you do is you break down your work into skills. And you say, what are the most important skills I need to have to be successful? And there's recruiting is a very important skill. Training is an important skill. Managing, motivating is an important skill. Leading, supervising, important skills. So what you do is you think, what are the skills that I will need to be in the top 10% of my field? You don't have to be in the top 1%. Just be in the top 10%, because there are no successful people who are not good at what they do. They are good at what they do, and they are good at what they do because they work at it all the time. Whether you're in sports or whether you're in music or chess or anything else. There's a wonderful study that's been written up, and it's called it'll come to me in a second. I find that because of these pains, my memory slips and it goes around in a circle like a merry-go-round, and it comes around again and it'll come back, and there it is. But basically what it said was, studying the most successful people is that these people spend far more hours becoming good at what they do than average people. The other people don't do it. And that everybody has natural abilities, but the ones who use those abilities transform themselves by really, really working hard at becoming good, one skill at a time. This is another thing that's really important. Don't try to be good at everything, because what happens is you just break down. You just overwhelm yourself and you'll just give up. And you say, oh, I tried that before. I had an experience, which I'll pass on to you. When I was a young man, I was in my 20s, and I was in sales, and I was in cold calling sales, knocking on doors every day. And I was making 1 or 2 sales a week. I was living in a little rooming house with a bed and a floor and a little bathroom. And I was struggling. I could tell you within $1 how much money I had in my world at that time, because it was less than $1. And I worked, get up at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. I'd be waiting at 8 o'clock in the morning when people came to work. I would knock on doors, office doors and business doors all day long. And then in the evenings, I'd go out and knock on homes and apartments. And I would make call after call after call. I made hundreds of calls and with no sales. The first year, I made more than 20,000 calls and only made a few sales, just enough to survive. And then one day, I asked a question, which I'm going to help you with. As I said, of all the skills, what's holding me back more than anything else? And the answer was closing the sale. Is that I couldn't get people to make a decision. I was enthusiastic and positive and everything you could want and so on. And people were very interested and friendly. But at the end of the conversation, they would say those awful words. Let me think it over. Let me think about it. Or leave it with me. Or can you get me some more information? The words I want to think about it mean goodbye forever. We will never meet again. And I was getting this all the time. So I made a decision. I still remember the time, date, place, sitting in my little rooming house when I decided I was going to learn how to become very good at closing sales. And I began to read everything I could find. I sent away 4 books. I did everything I could find to study the psychology and the techniques and methods of closing sales. In 1 year, my income went up 10 times. Changed my life forever. And some years later, and I didn't know how to do it, and then I did. And because all skills are learnable, and you can learn any skill that you want to learn. And if you just simply find out what others have done before you and practice it. And then I began to recruit other salespeople and teach them the same thing. I said, here's the product, here's the advantages and benefits for our customers, and here's how to ask them to make a decision. And they became successful. Many of them today are millionaires and multimillionaires. Many of them own multiple businesses. And they've told me, they said, your training when I was in my 20s, going nowhere, broke, changed my life forever. And the most important thing was I got people just to make a decision. I asked them to make a decision. So many people in this room, I know, have a challenge with closing. We all do when we start off. But that's where we are now, but that's not where we're going to be 3 months from now. 3 months from now, you're going to be so dangerous, you will need to be restrained for yourself and the safety of society. Because you'll be able to close anybody on anything. And I'm not talking about pressure. I'm not talking about pressure. Do you know what good business is here? It's helping. What you are great helpers. You are helping people to improve the quality of their lives and their health and their family. And so when you start to see yourself as a helper, your job is to help people understand how much better off their lives can be if they take your advice and guidance. That's what you do. Earl Nightingale said something many years ago. He said, you don't get what you want in life. He said, you get what you deserve. And so I began to study that. You get what you deserve. And I found that deserve comes from the Latin. And it comes from the words de, which means from, servus, which from service. So you get what you want in life from service to other people. And so the people who serve the most people the very best are the ones who make the most amount of money in the shortest period of time. But here's something else, is when you help other people improve the quality of your life, your self-esteem goes up. And your self-confidence goes up, and you feel happy, and you like yourself more, and you like other people. It's the most amazing darn thing, is you just put your life on this wonderful upward spiral by deserving that people will buy from you, by looking for ways to help them. How can I help this person to improve the quality of their life and their family and their work? So see yourself as a helper, and your job is to deserve more. And you'll find, you look at the Steve Jobs and the Bill Gates and the multimillionaires who are individuals, and you think, these people focused. They had this obsession with a product of some kind that would really help people to improve the quality of their lives. And that's all they think about and all they talk about. And the only people who succeed in those companies are people who have this same obsession with customer service. Tom Peters, in his book In Search of Excellence many years ago, he said the most important principle of all was the obsession with customer service. Is that the most successful and highest paid people just think about serving people and helping people improve their lives all the time. So that's the most important level of competence that you want to achieve. First of all, you have clear goals, and then you say, what is it that I really love to do that really helps other people to improve the quality of their life? And how can I become really good at doing that more and more of the time? The third C is the C of concentration. And these are not necessarily in order, but in a way these are. The C of concentration is your ability to focus, which we've talked about before. It's your ability to focus single-mindedly on one thing at a time and to work on that one task until it's complete. And to discipline yourself not to do anything else or to become distracted by emails and bells and bips and noises and things like that. It's just your ability to focus like a laser beam on a single task. I wrote a book a few years ago, and it was called Double Your Income and Double Your Time Off. And I sent it to a publisher. And the publisher said, a book's title is really important. He said, well, it's an interesting title, but it's kind of bland. And one of the titles, Chapter 15, there's 21 great ways to stop procrastinating and get more things done faster. And one of the chapters was called Eat That Frog. And Eat That Frog came from you know my book. It came from a story by Mark Twain where he said, if the first thing you do when you get up in the morning is you eat a live frog, you'll have the pleasure of knowing that's probably the worst thing that's going to happen to you all day long. And Mark Twain was just an incredibly good humorist. And he said, and there's two corollaries to that rule. Number one is if you have to eat a frog at all, it does not pay to sit and look at it for very long. Get on with it, get it over with. He said, and the second corollary is if you have two frogs to eat the ugliest one first. A good friend of mine from here in Salt Lake, or actually in Salt Lake, says that the key to success is do the worst first. Eat the ugliest frog first. And I really like that. And so your job is to eat that frog. So my publisher came back to me and he said, if you could take this title and take it and make it the title of the book and then run the theme of eating a frog, getting prepared, getting ready, picking the most important things first, all the way through, we could publish it as a book and it might sell a few copies. Today, it's past 10 million copies in 46 languages. It's the best-selling book on time management in the world. And I've had countless people come to me all over the world because it's in so many languages. And they say, this book made me rich. This book made our company the number one company in Europe, number one company in the country. It made us rich. They said it made me double, triple, quadrupled my income. People have transformed their lives by this simple concept. And the concept is, once you have determined the most valuable and important thing you can do, start with that first and do only that task until it's complete. Now, the first time that you try to do this, you will find it's quite difficult. Napoleon Hill did a subsequent book to his book, Think and Grow Rich. It was called The Master Key to Riches. And after 260 pages, he gives you the answer, the Master Key to Riches. In the first paragraph, he explains, in this book, you will learn the Master Key to Riches. And so it's a whole book on motivational ideas and principles. And the last line of the last chapter of the last page is, now you know the Master Key to Riches is self-discipline. And what we have found is that the most successful people have come to that conclusion as well, is that self-discipline is the master key to success. So for you to write down your goals and make a plan and set priorities and start with your most important task takes tremendous self-discipline. If you haven't done it up to now, it's so hard. But Goethe said everything is hard before it's easy. And everything at the beginning is difficult, but later it becomes easy and automatic. You have to force yourself to discipline yourself at the beginning, but after that, it becomes easier and easier, and you actually feel happy. Now, here's the most wonderful thing. When you discipline yourself to start and complete a task or a part of a task, you feel like an athlete. So here's my question. If an athlete runs in a race and comes in first, what do they call this person? The winner. Exactly. I've studied this hundreds, thousands of hours. What it says is that when you win, when you come in as the winner, your body releases endorphins, which are called nature's happy drug. They make you happy. And dopamine, which is a form of energy that you get from a positive experience. So when you complete a task, your body releases these drugs and you feel happy. So they call it, the psychologists call it nature's happy drug. If you want to be happy, just start and complete a task. And you get a zip. Wow. Wow. You feel happy. So I organize my life. So I organize my tasks, and then my wife, Barbara, will come in and say, we're going to have dinner in 10 minutes. So I say, okay, 10 minutes. Let's see, what have I got here that will take 10 minutes? I can do this in 10 minutes. So I'll always end my day with a completed task. This is a real simple thing, and I've done it. I tick it off, complete, down, and I'm happy. And I walk out and I'm smiling. When you make a person feel like a winner, you feel happy. When you discipline yourself to complete a task, you give yourself a buzz. Alfred Adler, one of the top psychologists of history, called this a positive addiction. He said if you start and complete a task, you get a buzz. And the buzz becomes addictive. You start thinking, no, I want that buzz again. But the buzz is a positive addiction in that it makes you happy when you do it. So every time you start and complete a task, you feel like a winner. And when you feel like a winner, you want to do it again and have that winning feeling. If you want to raise happy, healthy, self-confident children, one of my programs, 21 Great Ways to Raise Happy, Healthy, Self-Confident Children, one of my 21s, is what you do is you make your children feel like winners all the time. If you're happily married, make sure that your spouse feels like a winner all the time. How do they feel like a winner? Is when you praise them or compliment them, thank them for what they did, acknowledge their success, whatever happens to be, make them feel like a winner. Because every single time you start and complete something and it's acknowledged, the person feels like a winner. Do you know that the greatest speed records, Olympic records, are always broken in front of the biggest crowds? Interesting point. The biggest crowds. You get 10,000 people, you get a record. You get 50,000 people, wow. 100,000 people, they break all the world records. Because the greater the amount of praise and that you get from winning a race or potential winning a race, the faster people run. Interesting thought. So those are the first three. Clarity, be absolutely clear about your goals and what you need to do to achieve them. And competence, become very good at your tasks. And number three is concentration. Concentrate single-mindedly on your most important task and stay with it until it's complete. By the way, I could speak for 2 days just on concentration. And I have taught these principles all over the world, but that's all that you need. Start and finish your most important task. Number 4 is constraints. Now, constraints is a concept that was developed in Tel Aviv by a management consultant many years ago. And it says that between where you are today and where you want to be sometime in the future, a goal, is there is always one constraint or choke point that determines the speed at which you get from here to here. That's the constraint. So the art of life is to identify the constraints that are holding you back from achieving the goal that you want to achieve. And it could be something simple like finding a parking space. It could be something simple like getting your shopping done and so on. Continually ask, what is the constraint or limiting factor is what they call it, the limiting factor between here and where you want to go. So you say to yourself, all right, you want to achieve a particular goal. So you ask yourself, what is the one factor that determines the speed at which you achieve that goal? What is the one factor that determines the speed at which you achieve your most important goal? And you work with your downline, you work with your consultants, you work with other people, and you help them to be absolutely clear. And don't try to change the world. Try to change one thing, one factor. Try to alleviate the one factor, and that'll change your whole life. It's unbelievable. So you say, all right, let's talk about selling. And I could speak about selling for days and days as well. Let's talk about selling. Well, we want to earn more money. Do we want to earn more money? Say yes. How would you like to double your income effective this next week? Okay. I have a seminar that I do, by the way. It's 7 ways to double your income in the next 7 days, and it's all based on hundreds of hours of research and blah blah blah. But I'll give you just one. I was thinking I could spend the whole day on the 7, but I'll give you just one. Is what determines your income today? What's the constraint? What's the factor? Well, the limiting factor is the number of people who you sign up to join the business. That's pretty much it. Oh, it could be something different, but or it could be closing the sale. It's getting that person to come on board and become active and get busy and start talking to other people and both using and selling the product. Figure out what it is. But let's just say that it is the number of people that you talk to on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And I give this little formula when I'm talking to sales audiences, and in reality, we're all in sales. And I say, the average person in America who earns a full-time living from sales, and sales is on their business card, about 17% of the population, spends about 90 minutes a day talking to new potential customers. 90 minutes a day. And this goes back to 1928, all the way forward, 90 minutes a day. Well, there's 8 hours in a working day, so that means the person is spending 1/5 of each working day talking to new potential customers. So if you want to double your income, it's very simple to do. And you all know what the answer right now is: spend 180 minutes each day talking to new people. Now, you can't control or determine which one of them is going to buy or join or something else, but you know that if you speak to enough people will join or buy or become customers or become distributors and so on. So therefore, just double the number of minutes. I call this Brian's minutes theory. Double the number of minutes from 90 minutes to 180 minutes. Or if you're working whatever number of minutes today, and you could calculate that, track it for a week. Every day, track how many minutes you're spending talking to new people about this business, then double the number of minutes. Now, you can't double the number of minutes overnight. It may take you a week or 2 weeks. But my promise to you is that if you double the minutes, you'll double your income. If you double the minutes you spend face-to-face, head-to-head, eye-to-eye, ear-to-ear, you say knee-to-knee, heart-to-heart. If you double the minutes, you double your income. And I've had countless people come to me, and it's interesting, they come up at the seminar and say, that's a bunch of BS. I've been in my business for years. This competition is so tough. You can't double your income just blah, 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 blah. And then I come back 6 or 12 months later, and they come up to me and they say, do you remember me? And I don't. But they say, I told you it was a bunch of BS about doubling your FaceTime and doubling your income. The week after I went out, I said, I'm going to prove that person's wrong. I'm going to prove that he's just a dork or something else. And he said, the following week, I doubled my income. After 8 years in my field, I doubled my income. He said, I couldn't believe it. He said, I told my other friends how I did it. I was now the top salesman in the company. I told them else to do it, and everybody who did it doubled their income. And then once you double your income, what do? You double the amount of time you're spending, and you spend it on with better people. Okay, now I'm running out of time. Damn. So I'm going to give you the other principles that we have. The number 5. Number 4 is constraints. Number 5 is continuous learning and development. Is dedicate yourself to becoming better and better at what you do. It must be a part of your life. You must breathe in, breathe out, and learn new things. Self-made millionaires, self-made billionaires spend 60 to 90 minutes every day studying their field, reading new material. Warren Buffett was just relegated from number 3 to number 4, richest man in the world. And Warren Buffett reads 500 pages a day. Warren Buffett reads 5 to 8 hours a day. Warren Buffett reads 7 days a week. He reads all the time, and he's one of the richest men in the history of the world. And he and his partners all say the same thing. You've got to read. Read and learn all the time. So part of your life, don't ever listen to the radio. I say you should never even know if your radio works in your car because you never listen to it. The CDs that are available to help you become better are unbelievable. You can download them with Audible and put them onto your iPhone. You can listen to them in every part of your life, and one idea can make you rich. So just keep flooding your mind with new ideas. Number 6 is commitment. And we know this because you talked about it a lot. Commitment is really important. There's no success without commitment, without you putting your whole heart into what you're doing, and putting your whole heart into what you're doing for a long time. But if you do, there is no limit on what you can accomplish. As you get up in the morning and you make a decision that, by gum, I am going to succeed in this business, no matter how long it takes, no matter how many hours a day. And number 7 is courage. And courage, Winston Churchill said, courage is rightly considered the foremost of the virtues, for upon it all others depend. And in courage, what you have is 2 parts. The first part of courage is the courage to begin, to launch, to take a chance, to face failure and rejection, to try something with a very great possibility that you will fail and you'll feel embarrassed and upset and your self-esteem will go down and so on. But the second part of courage is persistence. It's the power to keep going and keep pushing yourself and driving yourself. And I had a transformation many years ago, which I will give to you. A woman that I was going out with before I was married, she asked me, Brian, she said, what is your best quality? And I thought about that, and I said, I think my best quality is that I never give up. That's your best quality. She's a very insightful woman. I still remember, very intelligent. My best quality is I never give up. And so I've spoken to audiences like you, and I have found that that's true, is I never give up. And my children never give up. It is not in our vocabulary. We never think, we'll try something different, we'll try something new, we'll take the losses and so on, but we'll never give up. So how do you develop this unshakable quality of persistence, which will guarantee your success in life? Nothing can stop you if you don't quit. If you don't quit, then the only alternative is you must succeed, and eventually you must succeed greatly. Well, the great rule, you become what you think about, but you become what you say to yourself. So what you do is you say to yourself these magic words. You say, I never give up. Say it. Say, I never give up. I never give up. I never give up. I like myself and I never give up. You repeat that over and over, and repeat it to your kids. I love you and you never give up. Repeat it to your downlines. Repeat it to your friends. Make it something when people say, well, I don't know a lot about him or her, but I know one thing is he or she never gives up.
When completing a long climb, one first experiences dizziness, disorientation, and shortness of breath due to the high altitude. But once you become accustomed to the climb, your mind opens up to the tranquility of the triumph. Oftentimes, the mind is flooded with realizations that were for some reason harder to come to when you were at a lower elevation. At this moment, most of you need some realizations, because right now you have some big decisions to make. Right now, I urge you, in your breath, in your eyes, in your consciousness, invest in the importance of this moment and cherish it. I know some of you might have partied last night. You should celebrate, but this moment is also part of that celebration. So savor the taste of your triumphs today. Don't just swallow the moment whole without digesting what has actually happened here. Look down over what you conquered and appreciate what God has brought you through. As the scripture says, I planted the seed and Apollos watered it, but God kept growing it. God kept it growing. Yet and still, when you invest in a seed, watching it grow without you, that is a bitter pill to swallow. A bitter pill. Anybody that's ever been fired knows what I'm talking about. Even if you really don't want the job, when they let you go, it's like any breakup. You act like you don't care. I didn't need that damn job anyway. I didn't need them. But when you have those moments alone, you start to wonder if there was a better way to handle it. And if you could have handled it better, maybe you could help your family. And then before you know it, you're broke. And you find yourself scraping together change just so you can ride the subway so that you can get the next job. And maybe if you could book something else, that would eclipse the feeling of doubt that's building. But it seems like you can't pay them to hire you now. Sometimes you need to get knocked down before you can really figure out what your fight is and how you need to fight it. Sometimes you need to feel the pain and sting of defeat to activate the real passion and purpose that God predestined inside of you. God says in Jeremiah, I know the plans I have for you. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Graduating class, hear me well on this day. When you have reached the hilltop and you are deciding on next jobs, next steps, careers, further education, you would rather find purpose than a job or a career. Purpose crosses disciplines. Purpose is an essential element of you. It is the reason you are on the planet at this particular time in history. Your very existence is wrapped up in the things you are here to fulfill. Whatever you choose for a career path, remember the struggles along the way are only meant to shape you for your purpose. When I dare to challenge the system that would relegate us to victims and stereotypes with no clear historical backgrounds, no hopes or talents, when I questioned that method of portrayal, a different path opened up for me. The path to my destiny. When God has something for you, it doesn't matter who stands against it. God will move someone that's holding you back away from a door and put someone there who will open it for you. If it's meant for you, I don't know what your future is, but if you're willing to take the harder way, the more complicated one, the one with more failures at first than successes, the one that has ultimately proven to have more meaning, more victory, more glory, then you will not regret it. Now, this is your time. The light of new realization shines on you today.
I'm a human being like everybody else. I do get to experience emotions, and some of them are not very pleasant. But I believe that it's the responsibility of every one of us to cope with these emotions and to learn to work through them. Self-discipline is particularly important because without it, how can you overcome this seemingly endless loop of negativity or despair that ultimately leads to depression for some people. I normally never have depression. I don't remember having depression in the last 20 years at least. Maybe when I was a teenager. But one of the reasons for that is I start doing things. I identify the problem, I can see a solution, and I start executing the strategy.
Yeah, that's the thing that people really confuse. If you're stuck in a depressive cycle, even when you really, 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 really don't want to do anything, just do something. Try to make progress, because the good feeling comes in the end of that. The whole point is to do first and then feel, not feel and then do.
Exactly. And going to the gym is a good example. There are many days when you don't want to start working out. But you have to overcome this initial reluctance. And then you get to a point that you enjoy it. And you think, oh my God, it was such a good idea to come to the gym today. But it's similar to pretty much every activity. You get to write some code. Write a small piece of code first. And then you get inspired. Then you'll come up with more ideas. You need to write a novel or just write a paragraph. This is pretty obvious and it's not a secret. But because we are bombarded with all kinds of information that is not really important for us in terms of becoming successful, we often forget the important things. And this is one of them.
We've been working out every single day. You have been working out for many years, pretty intensively. So I think a lot of people would love to know, what's your perfect daily workout regimen? Let's say on a weekly basis.
I do 300 push-ups and 300 squats every morning. And in addition to that, I go to the gym normally 5-6 times a week, spending between 1 and 2 hours every day.
So push-ups and squats are still a big part of your routine?
Yes, this is how I start my day. I'm not sure they do a lot in terms of changing your body, but they're definitely a good way to practice self-discipline. Because you don't want to do these push-ups in the morning most of the days. Squats are particularly boring. They're not that hard. They're just boring. But you overcome it. And then it's much easier to start doing other things related to your work, for example. When I can, I also take an ice bath because it's another exercise of self-discipline. I think the main muscle you can exercise is this muscle, the muscle of self-discipline. The physical activity is the only way I know of. So it's not just staying healthy or trying to look good. It's also being productive. It's also being stress resilient. All of these qualities are necessary if you want to run a large company, if you want to start a company. I'm surprised when I started doing this more than 10 years ago that more CEOs didn't engage in sports. The situation changed in the last several years, which is great. Because back in the day, if you take 20 years ago, there was this stereotype that if you're strong, you must be not very smart, and vice versa, which is a complete lunacy. Very often these two things go together.
So for you, working out is not just about staying healthy, it's actually valuable for the work that you do as a tech leader, as an engineer, as a technologist.
Oh yes. When I can't train, I can instantly feel that stress is creeping on me.
Yeah.
So even in situations when I'm constrained, I can't go to gym. I would just keep doing push-ups. I just keep doing squats.
Yeah. I mean, that's the cool thing about body weight exercise. You can just do it anywhere. You could just pop off 50, 100 push-ups before a meeting.
don't you feel weird when you have a day without physical activity?
Yeah. If I go a day without doing push-ups at the very minimum, that's a shitty day.
And if you can do pull-ups, it's even better. If you experiencing a headache, one solution would be to take a pill and then the headache disappears. What this pill would actually do in most cases, it would mute the consequence, your feeling of pain. It's a painkiller. It will not eliminate the root cause. So you have to ask yourself, what is it that is causing this headache? Do I need to drink some water? Is the air quality here bad? Do I need to start getting more sleep? Is there something wrong with people around me? They're stressing me out. There must be some reason why you're experiencing a headache. But if you take a pill, you're not removing this reason. You're actually making it worse. Because this harmful factor is still there. It's like you're piloting a helicopter and there's some red signals and red lamp starts to blink and it starts producing bad, unpleasant noise. What would you do? You would try to figure out the cause and eliminate it. Maybe there's some mountain next to you and you have to avoid it. Or you take a hammer and smash the signal. I think the good answer is quite obvious. So why are we constantly doing this regardless? Oh, because everybody else is doing it? Because there's a whole industry trying to persuade you that this is the right thing to do. So it's incredibly important to analyze yourself and try to get to the bottom of things. This is something I practice every day. I read some piece of news and I ask myself, who benefits from me reading this? And then you can end up coming to this conclusion that maybe 95% of things we read in the news have been written and published because somebody wanted you to buy some product, support some political cause, fight some war, donate some money, please do something that would benefit other people. And this is not a problem to support causes that you truly believe in, as long as it was your intentional choice and you're not being manipulated into fighting other people's wars.
And that takes us back to the original thing we started talking about, which is freedom. One of the ways to achieve freedom of thought is to remove your mind from the influences, the forces that manipulate you. That's really important to realize. The content you consume, especially on the internet, when a large percentage of it is designed to manipulate your mind, you have to disconnect yourself. Be very proactive, understanding what the biases, what the incentives are, so you can think clearly, independently, and objectively.
And again, it ties back with restraint from alcohol.
Yeah.
Because if your mind is clouded, how can you analyze yourself? You'll always be dependent on opinions of others. You will always follow the mainstream. And then whatever the authorities or whoever in charge will tell you, you'll believe it because you don't have a tool of your own to rely on to come to your own conclusions.
I think most people, although they feel it and think it, want to say it, but they're not in a position to be able to say it. And I think that's what's really special about being able to get yourself in a position where you can say what you actually think. Put yourself in a position in your life where there are no repercussions, or if there are repercussions, you're willing to pay for them. And I think many people find themselves in a position where they so badly want to speak and they can't. So when they come across someone that does, they feel like they're speaking for them. And so that would be my goal, is to feel like I'm speaking for people that can't. I think that's really important, and it's really important to me. And I think that's what resonates with people, when they believe that you're speaking on their behalf. I actually think that's the ultimate test. If you go online and you make a video and you start to see the negative comments that come in, or the people that attack you for being who you are, I think that's the ultimate test to see whether you'll make it or not, because you have to withstand that storm. It's coming. You could be the Pope, and still they'll find something to say about you negatively. The trolls will. But you know one thing I like to do? Every now and then, I'd say about once a month, I'll take a bad comment and I'll DM that person directly. I'm going to create bad comments now. And I'll reach out and say, hey, I see that you don't like me, or you're not a very big fan of mine. I just want you to know that I hope you're well. I hope you're killing it. No sweat from me. Just sending you love. And I'm telling you now, like 99 out of 100. In fact, I had it happen to me the other day. A guy said something like, you're a clown, or something like that, and I sent him a message like that, and about 3 or 4 texts later, he signed up to my school group that I just opened last week, and he's in my actual group. And so a lot of times those people are just hurting, man.
Yeah.
And I think it's our job, particularly, especially if we're strong and we're confident in what we're doing and confident in what we say and who we are, is to be graceful with those people. Understand that there's other people that don't have it quite as well as we do. And maybe they're just not on that part of their journey yet. I struggled for a long time. Now, I didn't hate on anybody online, but you just never know what a guy's going through, and maybe how you could turn their day around by loving them anyway and being graceful in that moment with them.
Well, yeah, and I remember when I was more insecure, but I was, trying to look confident, that's when I would go on and fight with people online, right? I remember when I was in that position. And so now when people come at you on, it's exactly what you said, though, is happy people aren't going on the internet and DMing strangers. So if you can have that level of empathy, and you have to detach yourself and go, this has nothing to do with me.
Right, 1,000%.
Yeah, and in real life, I don't know if this is your case, I'm sure it is the same, but 99.9% of the interactions I have in person are great. They're positive.
Every time.
It's very rare that you'll have a negative interaction in person. It's because people in person, they're still kind of a fan. They're still kind of there's a part of you that they want to be where you're at, and maybe they're mad at themselves that they aren't there yet. And so online it comes off as like they're upset, or they don't like, they call you a clown. But really, they're kind of reaching out. They're kind of trying to ask, hey man, somebody help me here.
Attention's currency. So any attention on every level, there's gradient scales that they can go from disliking you to, let's say hating you, to slightly disliking you, to you start to grow on them, to liking you, and then becoming a true fan of yours. And I don't find myself like really spending a lot of time thinking about that outcome for myself.
Yeah.
But every now and then when I see somebody hurting, I know they're hurting, because if they're talking shit about me, you know who we should really be worried about as influencers? The people that don't say anything at all. That's who we should be worried about. And to your point on what you said, I don't think it's just normal people out there that are hurting. There's a lot of influencers, and I hate the word, to be honest.
Yeah, it's
influencers, people with big social media accounts, they're hurting too, because they're hating people left and right.
You see that more and more now. It's just
more and more.
It's this thing that is, for whatever reason, gets a lot of attention now.
Well,
so people kind of get addicted to the negativity of it all.
Yeah, but you know what my problem with that is? Number one, you're also insecure. And number two, if you have to hate on somebody to become relevant, then you need to find something else to do, or raise the standards of whatever your content is. And I don't say that to hate on them. I'm just saying that it's not the path. Because if you're pulling negativity onto the internet to grow your brand, what do you think your brand following is going to be?
Yeah.
It's going to be those types of people. My life is too good in real life to worry about some asshole talking shit to me on the internet.
Yeah.
Like, it's just too good, bro.
Yeah.
And so I take a lot of pride in being graceful with those people. And I think it served me well, because holding hate on your back is heavy. I want to go with a light heart, love the people that love me. The ones that don't, they can not like me, but it's not going to change my reality. I built my reality, and there's not some dickhead on the internet that's ever going to change that, or some individual that's just hurting that day.
Yeah. Well, and people are attracted more than ever to people that are unapologetically whoever they are, because so few people are willing to do it. So somebody like yourself, or the Tate brothers, right? They are people gravitate to them one way or another, and to you one way or another, because what they're seeing is this unapologetic person just being them and not necessarily caring what other people say about them. Obviously, they are sure of themselves. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to do what they do, because so many people fall as soon as the attack comes for them. You see so many people actors are famous for this. They'll try to stand up for a second, or athletes, but the second they start getting a little bit of negative pushback, they completely flip their opinion. And it's every single time, it just makes you lose respect for them, right? And so I think that quality of just being unapologetically yourself is what attracts people to everything you're doing.
1,000%. I'll add something to that actor and athlete thing. I was walking with a girl through LA recently, and anytime I'm in public, people want to take photos.
Of course.
And what she said to me was, you know the difference between you and a pro athlete that was plays for the Dodgers or like a movie star? He said, these people walk up to you and tell you that you changed their life. That's completely different from I saw you in a movie. Because it's like, first of all, it makes you feel very good about yourself. It makes you feel very cool. It makes you feel very appreciated in the work that you do, especially when most of the time, you can get 1,000 positive comments and see 5 negative ones. Those will be the ones you remember.
Yeah. Just
human nature wise, just neuroprogramming up here. You're looking for the negative. That's what sticks to you. You take the good ones for granted. But those interactions where somebody stops you and says, hey man, I was going through a breakup, or I was at a bad place in my business, or I needed to quit my job and I finally did. And it was because you helped me make that decision. Thank you. And there's not any better work you could do.
No, it's a different level of contribution that you get to do. I was speaking this morning to a group of real estate agents, and this was kind of the irony of like being, quote unquote, an influencer or a content creator, right? I'm speaking tomorrow in front of 5,000-6,000 people. Today, I go to this event and they screwed up which hotel it was at. So they were expecting 300 real estate agents, and they had 6 people there when I spoke. And I gave them everything I had to those 6 people. By the end of the talk, there was like 11, but it was kind of sad because this guy had a full buffet and everything. It was really set up. He just put the wrong hotel on there. And so, but I poured everything into them. And to your point, I had another appointment that was ending pretty much right after that one to do a podcast. I was on another podcast. And so I was intending to be done about 9:50. So I had 10 minutes to get to that podcast. But there was, of these 11 people that were there at the end of my talk, like 5 of them were sitting there with my book waiting for me to sign it and, get a picture. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pour into these people. Like, I appreciate that. Like, they're going to read that book and it's going to change their life in some way. And so I ended up being 15 minutes late for that podcast. But even though there was only 11 people, it's like, that is, you never know. What I said in that room today might have changed one of their lives. And that's why I gave everything I had as if I had a room of 5,000 people in front of me.
1,000%. I don't really believe in karma itself, like in the very literal term. But what I do believe in is that if you go out into the world and you do kind things for people and you genuinely love people and you give yourself to them in a very genuine way, it's not karma that's going to make you have a better life. It's that inside your heart, you deserve and have good things coming. Most of the time when people are doing bad things, they know and expect to get that karma because they understand that they have it coming. They understand that they did that thing they shouldn't have done. And if something negative happens to them, they deserve it. Whereas I like to try to live my life from the place of, I've put so much into so many people and given them my time, and I've done the right thing even when it was hard. Whether it's somebody stopping me on the street or a business deal or employee or somebody I have just a generic relationship in, if I can feel good at the end of the day about how I treated that human being, then I can walk around, number one, with peace in my heart, but then with the expectation and lack of surprise that good things are happening for me because I have nothing inside of me telling me that something negative should come because I've done nothing to feel like I deserve it.
Yeah, you're expecting good things to happen instead of expecting bad things to happen.
It's like planting a bunch of seeds. Like you expect them to grow, and as long as you water them, they will.
Well, this is a little secret of life that people miss is if you plant a tree that you're never going to take fruit from, you're going to get fruit from a whole nother tree. And so plant those seeds every chance you get. We talked a little bit about people suffering, and I think it's such a fascinating concept, right? Like men in general, one of the things I love that you do talk about, why it's hard to be a man in today's society, like some of the, difficulties that are out there facing men. Maybe you speak to that a little bit. What are a couple of those things that are just challenging, and why are men having, more challenges than ever?
Yeah. So a couple of reasons. The one main reason I see is that when we went off the gold standard, we went from a man being able to wake up, go work his ass off 40 hours a week, and be able to provide for a family. Women didn't really want to go into the workplace. It was a necessity that women went into the workplace because that man's hard work could no longer pay to provide for that family. So I think that's one major thing that happened is like the man's ability to completely take control and take charge and pay for, supporting his entire family went away. And I have nothing against women working. In fact, I'm a big proponent of women.
Yeah, you have an entire construction management team.
My whole team's women. So, they're very good. But by and largely, I think a lot of cases, most men, if you were to ask them, they would love nothing more than to make an abundance of income to be able to take care of their family and feel more masculine in that role. The second thing, with that being a situation where the normal guy cannot do that, paired with that, and I think even worse, is social media. Women marry a guy, they get their big day, right? But then they're still on social media. So they're comparing their husband against, a lot of times, a photoshopped, not as rich as he says, saying all the right things, camera crew, edits. They're creating this whole facade around him. And she's comparing her husband to him. And I think a lot of times when women see that again and again and again, they start to wonder what their other options are. And they start to take what that man is doing for them for granted. And in regards to young men that are not even approaching marriage, like a 22-year-old guy, he's competing against me. My inbox on Instagram proves that. He doesn't have a shot. He doesn't have a shot for another 8 years. And what I would tell him is to get to work, because more than likely, you're going to want to marry down anyway. But just the fact that so many men are even having trouble having sex at all.
I think Chris Williamson told me on our podcast we did a couple months ago, he said over 50% of men ages 18 to 25 have not asked a woman out in person in the last year.
1,000%.
It's a crazy stat.
And the world's changed a lot because of the way that a man can be perceived by approaching a woman. But I honestly believe this. You can take the same woman, have two different men say the same thing to said woman, and man A, she might react in disgust, call him cringe, call him creepy. Man B can say the exact same thing, and if she's interested, then he's charming.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's the case for social media in general. If somebody likes you, they can take the same things you said and make you a hero for it. Or they could call you a clown or cringe or whatever they want to call you. And I think a lot of men are facing that today. And so instead of walking up to that young woman and introducing himself, he doesn't want to face the rejection or the risk of being a creep. And so I think that's one of the things that are harder for young men today. Dating apps, just as bad. Instagram, just as bad. I think they say like 5-10% of men get 90% of the women on the dating apps.
Yeah.
And the reason that's such a problem is because we're guys. You bring a 4 in here right now with a big butt or big boobs, bruh, I'll bend her over that table right there. I don't care. Now she thinks that she's on my level, but I just did it because it was a random Tuesday and I got nothing to do.
Right.
And so now she thinks that she's up this hierarchy, and I hate to put numbers to it, but this is the way that people understand it. She thinks she's here when most of the time the guy that does that would never actually date her. But because there's so much access to so many men and so many women on such a large scale, it creates this kind of dissonance between where people should be, and especially like in kind of like the hierarchy of how the mating strategy works. And that becomes dangerous as well, because now you have girls that are probably not in the league of a guy like you or a guy like, let's say, Keaton or whoever. I'll leave me out of it. They think they're in that league because that guy slept with her. But the truth of the matter is, he just got nothing to do on a Tuesday night. Sorry. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And now she won't give the normal guy a shot because she's been with the big boss. She's been with the successful guy. And it's a bunch of bullshit. I think that, if you get married, you should probably just get off of social media.
I actually totally agree.
Yeah.
It's funny. I'm like, I'm going to give this everything I have for the next, 2, 5, or 10 years. But then me too, like by the time, like when I finally decide I'm going to settle down or whatever, I'm going to disappear. Like, you're not going to see me, because if I'm truly going to be into that person and be fully committed to my marriage, I know how social media works. I know how Instagram works. I know when somebody likes your photo from 6 months ago, what they're trying to say. They're throwing a beacon out, you know?
Oh man, you open your phone, the girl likes you, right? And all it is her face, just because she likes every photo.
Right.
And she's like, okay, bro, are you going to...
That's another one.
That's their version in real life.
Totally.
That's their version of putting themselves in your space.
Yep.
You know,
exactly.
They're like,
right.
I like your photos. Boom, 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 boom. If they're really, really hot and like have millions of followers, they might only like 3. That's enough.
Yeah.
Because even they understand their status. You know, and
people,
that's the crazy thing about it.
Something that I've been studying a little bit is we used to believe that value was what you provide, or value is what you can bring to the table. Value is what you truly are. What is it special about you? Now people are more focused on attention, what's loudest instead of what's valuable. And so what's getting the most attention, a lot of the guys on social media, for example, or even the women on social media, it looks like that's what you should aspire to. But in reality, none of that stuff's valuable. That's not really what brings happiness and joy in life. And so there's this confusion of people, they don't even know what to aspire to. They don't know what to go for, because we're propping up what gets the most attention as opposed to what truly has value.
Right. And I think it's going to stay like that for quite a while. And I'll tell you where my heart actually breaks. My heart breaks for the young girl, 7th, 8th grade, 9th grade, high school. She is going to associate her value with followers, like the rest of her classmates. But unfortunately for her, her value and her follower count is often tied to the amount of skin she shows on social media, which inversely hurts her with the ideal man she's actually
type of guy she wants. Yes.
Because the man that knows exactly what he wants and has very high standards, he's not going to put up with it.
Well, and you spoke about this, and Andrew speaks about this quite a bit, but you know, what makes that value for a woman especially is that not everyone can get her, that not everyone has access to see her in skimpier clothes, you know? And so women have been sold this lie that the more skin I show, the more attention I get, that means the more valuable I am.
Right.
And it's the exact opposite.
And unfortunately, those young ladies get lied to, because it doesn't mean that I won't go on a date with you. It simply means that I put you in the bucket that does not create a long-term relationship. And they believe, because you continue to see them, because they're stunningly beautiful. Now I'm talking about adult women, by the way. They believe because they're stunningly beautiful and you continue to see them, that you don't see what they're doing. So if I was with a girl and taking it very seriously, and she had her cleavage all over the internet, let's say, I directly look at that as marketing. Like, she must not be done looking, because she's still marketing to the world her assets. It seems they're still for sale. And so it's just food for thought for any young woman, which, by the way, I have a huge heart for. That group I just started, there's women in it, and I care about them. I have 3 sisters, you know, and, you know, I think women have it just as hard as men, in a very inverse way.
Oh, I agree. Yeah,
in a very inverse way.
Even though I coach men, we talk about all the problems that men face today. Women's are just as big. They're
just as big.
They are.
Right.
They have the exact same amount of issues.
Right. And so they're faced with things that we aren't faced with, and men are faced with things that they certainly are not faced with. And I think it's just a really huge misunderstanding right now, and it's going to take probably some kind of hard shift to change that.
What do you think? What is the response? What's the answer to maybe try to, change the tide a little bit?
I think that we need to create a situation where the average man can do a lot better for himself. I talk a lot about blue collar workers, the people that actually make society work. If it were up to me and I had some kind of, let's say, political power, I would want to sit down, list out every job in the country, and put a real value to it. We live in a world today where a girl can shake her ass on OnlyFans and Instagram and make more money than the guy that built this house. It's inverted. It's backwards.
Yeah.
Even the money that influencers make, it's unreal. It is completely unreal. And then here we are with a world full of people that are building roads, handling trash, the mail, roofing, cleaning the sides.
And they're being told that they don't have value. They're not important. They're not getting propped up anywhere on
These are the guys that
media.
make the world go around.
Oh, yeah.
No offense to the Instagram model, but that bimbo can't make it to the mall without a road or a car or a guy that built the mall itself, hung the steel, did the electrical, poured the concrete. And I don't even blame her. I actually blame us as a country. It's almost, in a way, there should be a certified payroll to, and there's certain projects, Bacon Davis projects in construction, where they say how much you have to pay.
Sure.
But I think by and largely, we have our value of job description versus income way off. And I'm by no means a socialist. The market gives what it gives. But in a lot of these scenarios, it's so far out of balance, the common guy doesn't have a shot. And so what I see happening could get substantially worse as more and more women are willing to share a high value man. And I can tell you, as a person that exercises my options, that's a real thing. And I don't even have to lie about it.
Yeah.
In fact, they contribute and help. And it's not me bragging about it nor promoting it. I'm not. I'm just simply saying that if something doesn't change where the average guy can have a strong relationship and she can look up to him and be proud of him for the hard work that he did in the field all day, bringing back and pouring his life's energy into supporting that family, then it's going to be wrecked for quite a while.
Yeah, I know there's some, people that are close to me, and I think there's been some frustration because anytime we're in a room together, everyone wants to know what I'm up to, right? Because I travel a lot and I'm doing these cool things, and I do podcasts with people like yourself, and I always have this feeling, who I look up to is like my brother-in-law, who just grinds, works his ass off, takes care of my nieces and nephews, takes care of my sister, my brothers that go to work. That really is, for my whole life, I've looked up to these people. I have this guy, he's kind of my right-hand guy for my real estate team for 17 years now, and he's just as good as they come. That dude cares about me more than I care about me. And he grinds all day, every day behind the desk, making sure everything that I make a mess of gets put in order and gets taken care of. And that dude will never get a single award or a single recognition, and he doesn't need it. But I'm like, that is a man. And then he goes home to his 4 kids and his wife, and he supports them and he takes care of them. He has a calling in his church. He is the guy in the community. He puts together trips with the neighbors and shit. That's a man. That is like what makes America so amazing. And there has to be a way to kind of give more credit. I'm saying this from somebody that gets more credit than I deserve, that like we have to start somehow recognizing all those people in a way that that is what becomes cool again, and that is what we aspire to, is becoming like that. Because if we keep aspiring, everybody wants to be a YouTube star, wants to be the next podcast super interviewer or whatever it might be. We just leave a gap in the people that really are getting the work done.
I completely agree. I believe there'll be a day, I hope for a day, where you cannot put out a course, you cannot create a brand without proving that you became a millionaire in that business. I had a deep conviction inside of me. I wanted to do YouTube in my mid-20s so bad. But I felt like an imposter because I was still struggling to build it. I'd make a bunch of money and then try to scale and lose it. I'd make it, lose it. I think I have it under control, thought I was a big boss, and then I'd lose it again, and these things would happen over and over again. And I just, finally let go of it. And I said, I'm going to make a commitment to not go online until I am liquid multimillionaire. Now, one thing that I think is very important for me to say on top of that, the higher I get up in the social media world, the broker I realize I am. Worth millions of dollars. I got 300 properties. I got huge construction companies that make millions of dollars a year. But then I run into Dan Fleshman outside, and he's like, yeah, we own a bank, or whatever the hell they say, right? And so I think that that's the fair thing to say as well, especially as people that have influence. It's like, yes, I did really, really well. I'm a millionaire, not a billionaire. I'm way more like you than you think I am. And I honestly believe that there's a bigger gap between 0 to $1 million for an individual than there is from 1 million to 10 and 10 to 20.
I agree.
I really believe that because so many things in your life change. Like, I continue to get wealthier, and I'm proud of that because it's a game. But I can tell you, it doesn't change my life very much. A private jet is not that much better than commercial.
Yeah, they say a person that has $1 million or more net worth, they did these random surveys, and they asked him if you could roll a dice and you either 10x your money or you lose it all and have to start at zero, how much of a multiple they'd have to get before they would take the roll.
Right.
And it was 7 times is where that hit, where people finally, the survey shifted that people would take it as a 7x, but at 5x, no, because they know how hard it is to go from 0 to $1 million. That's
1,000%.
much harder. Your life's going to change a lot more in that time frame than going from $1 million to 10 million or $1 million to 7 million or whatever.
You know how I always explain it? I explain it like you're on a runway and you go to take off, and they burn, I think a plane burns 60% of its fuel on a takeoff.
Oh, wow.
Or it's some crazy number.
Yeah.
That might not be right,
Sure.
but it's close to that. And most of the effort from the plane is getting it off the ground. I look at that as the first few million. But then when you get to 30,000 feet, you're really just cruising. Your competencies are in place. A lot of your teams are in place. You begin to get some sort of status, and that completely changes everything, because then employees are coming to you.
Yeah, opportunities, doors open for you. You didn't never deserve to be in the room.
Deals are there, and these things, they continue to happen. And so, like, even I'm in this place where it's like, I'm watching my wealth compound, and I think to myself, how much easier it is to multiply wealth now than it was to even get myself in the position to watch it compound.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens is most people try to get that plane off the ground. And even me, myself, you're duct taping the wings. You're trying to figure out, you're going sideways, you nosedive, you crash off the runway and bounce. And then you get up there and it almost, you feel this level of guilt because you're so trained and you're so used to work being painful.
That's what, at the peak of my career, I literally shifted to do this other thing completely, because I was kind of bored with it. I was a little bit addicted to the takeoff, and to all that stuff.
And aren't we all entrepreneurs are?
And it's because it is more fun, right? It, like you said, almost feels guilty when you're just like, this has never been easier.
Now it's like you just touch shit and it's like money. And the thing about that is, another reason it's so easy to do it is because of the position you're in. Yes. But then also, you don't have the downside risk of that business failing, because if that business fails, you still have a nest egg of that first thing you built to generate that first million anyway.
Yep.
I tell people all the time, it's like, don't worry about making $1 million. Worry about creating a system that's going to spit you out millions of dollars a year. So, like, people get so caught up in like making this certain amount of money and they want to hold on to it. I don't care about that. I care about the system that's going to get me there. And I think that's the hardest part to build, because you have to be able to have the staff to get that plane off the ground, the engine, the engineering, everything that you have to engineer around that business to create that new life for yourself. That is the thing that's going to get you there. It's not going to be this one side hustle where you hit like a little lick. It's just not. Ludacris is getting ready.
He is. We're doing this. We're doing this podcast at Keaton's house, and they're having Ludacris playing here at this house tonight. So if you guys hear a little background, that's just a little soundtrack coming for our podcast here for you. But so you said something. I didn't want to. You kind of glossed over it, but you said something that intrigued me earlier in the podcast. You said most men want to probably marry down. Go into that a little bit. Why? How come you feel that way?
I don't recall saying that. However, I will say this. That's probably true. It's probably true. I think that it's not that they want to marry down. It's that you want there to be a dissonance between you and her. She needs to look at you like a superhero. And a lot of people say you need to be equal partners and all this other bullshit. But statistics show that doesn't work. If you can't be the superhero, and it's not that you're saving her. A lot of people try to twist this like there's something wrong with her and you have some God complex or something like that. No. No man wants a woman that he can't save from a castle and a dragon.
It's true.
The most genuine, beautiful part about loving somebody is feeling like you made their life better because of the work that you put in. You swept them away. There's a song by the Dixie Chicks called Cowboy Take Me Away. Yeah. That, in a girl's honest heart, in her primal heart, every girl wants the superhero to come save her and whisk her away.
Well, it's every fantasy fairy tale they ever told. That's what happened.
Novel, everything. And so these women read this for a reason. And they're telling women today, which is another very difficult thing that women are facing, particularly as they get to what Rollo calls the wall, which is, they have the 19 to 27 or 26 range where it's like the party years.
Yeah, that's their prime year.
But then, unfortunately for women, and another unfair thing about nature for women is they're on the clock at 27. They're like, okay, I need to have kids or I'm not. And a lot of women, mostly in my opinion, because the way the dynamics are set up now, they have to turn their head to that primal urge to have children and become a bad bitch instead. And I believe that's mostly because they don't have a man in their life that they feel like could be the superhero and create that dissonance between them in order to make that a reality.
They're trying to create it almost for themselves because they know they want it and they're not getting it.
I call them phantom penises. Now, if you're a high status enough dude, and I've had this happen myself, I'll walk into a meeting.
Yeah.
Girl have a hell of one of those, right? She'll be a bad bitch, tell me about her company, tell me she made 6 figures last year, and I'll hold back from like giggling and telling her that's cute and, congratulate her and everything. But by the end of the date, by the end of the interaction, that soft side comes out. And they tell you the truth. They have to have this hard shell on. And I'm not saying this because women are less. I'm simply saying that although men and women are equal in their importance to the world, they're important in completely different categories. And I think it's a shame that women are being asked to be a female version of a man. Because
they've been sold this lie that they've all bought into. That's not equality. Right. Equality is a woman is her best and a man is his best, and they're in their role correctly where they create the most value. And a woman, you said it, you can have the woman with the most masculine shell on, but when she really breaks it down,
cracks, bro.
She just wants a guy to be that for her so she can be in her beauty and her feminine and be able to flow.
And I think what makes society so hard right now is that expectation, especially over the last 10 years of that young lady, has risen to the moon. Have you heard the 6 6s?
No.
So I think it's 6 months from the last relationship, 6-pack abs, 6-inch dick, 6-figure income,
6 foot,
and then 6 foot tall, and a 600 horsepower car. Now, great to be in those categories, right? However, when you have a gamut of women across the board that have, let's use 6 foot tall. There's something called the female delusion calculator. Have you heard of this?
Yeah, I've seen it. They ask girls their non-negotiables, and then they put it into the calculator, and it's
and they're like,
oh, congrats, 1 out of 13,000 guys fits your role.
0.1111%. And look, it doesn't behoove me to sit here and brag about me hitting certain statistics or you hitting some of these certain statistics. I'm talking about normal, good people with good hearts that want to have a relationship or a family or children. They want to contribute to society. We've set up a scenario where that's next to impossible for them.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about the man, I'm talking about the woman, because the woman, whether she actually feels that way or not, or she's getting pressured into that or not. And I think pressure from the world is actually one of the major indicators. She wants to love the normal guy. Somewhere in her, it agitates her, and she's almost not allowed to, even if she wanted to, because there's always this shiny syndrome thing in her way that the guy from 2 towns over that has an Instagram, let's say he's got 10,000 followers because he's a fitness dude, or she has this vision of this guy. And then there's this guy over here, he has an insurance company, he lives 3 towns over, but he likes her photos or DMs her every now and then. He just wants to sleep with her. But you understand what I'm saying? It's like, even the guy with no followers, she almost can't give him the time of day, and I think that's more of a pressure and a socio-economic thing where women are competing. I think that, men compete. and they girl flex on other women.
100%.
Look, he took me on this vacation, or he took me to here and did this. And
Well, they'll even to the point where I was watching an interview with a bunch of women that were kind of in the dating world, and they said that they will absolutely, when they meet a man, stalk the last couple exes that he had to see what trips he took her on, because they're comparing it to what this guy's going to do.
they
with
want to
them,
know how much he loves her.
Yeah.
Right. Well, newsflash, whoopee, I'm just going to go where I have business. So you can get on the plane or not. And I think that's a major thing that men miss. You need to be on your mission.
Yeah.
I don't chase women. I don't teach pickup. I talk about intersexual dynamics because it gets brought to me a lot. It's very tied to masculinity because I want to see the guys win, but I also want to see the women win. But you'll never hear me talking about this is what you should do to get women. In fact, my pickup line is just introducing myself. It's horrible because I believe so much that if you become that guy, women will come to you. I believe in gravity. I believe in absorbing women through who you are, and you're going this way and they just jump in front of you. Chasing women, I almost think about as two magnets that you try to put together that repel one another. You should always be trying to become the man that women want.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to up the quality of woman in your life, you have to become a better quality of man. That's it. I mean, you're going to attract in whatever you are, and it's where people get frustrated is when they're very ambitious but they're lazy, right? Those two things don't go very well together. So those guys get super, super depressed about their situation with women. But it's like at the end of the day, you just ask yourself a question. Why would a woman date you? Like, what caliber of woman would want to be with you? And if you can't be real about that and honest about that, because any guy that has made himself the asset, if you have, a great life and you do provide and you do create safety, both emotionally, physically, and financially, then it's going to be pretty easy to attract women into your life. Now, you're going to have to decide at what level you want to find one and just one or whatever else it is. But women are going to be accessible to you. And I think I was going to ask you a question earlier, kind of about why are so many men not dating, or, especially the younger generation. I see, people that I've coached or that have come to me that are in their early 20s and it seems like they're a little bit clueless to this point that you're making, that like, guys, all you have to do, look, you're not gonna be able to compete with Justin. You're not gonna be able to compete with the guy that can fly her to Dubai, but you've got to start working on yourself to improve yourself every single day, because the more you become that asset, the more women are gonna look at your potential. And the second you have the potential to be what they dream of having, then they're attracted. They'll be attracted to the potential. You don't have to already be there, but as a 21-year-old, 19-year-old, whatever that might be, you do have to have the potential in their eyes of being that for them.
100%. You're completely right about that. And at that age, I know that you're full of testosterone and your mind kind of works in one direction. But if you could focus that on becoming the man that you want to become, you're absolutely right. Women will see that and they will get in your way. There's no need to chase women. There's truly not. I don't think at any level there's any need to chase women. If all you do is focus on the man you become, women are going to be the least of your worries.
You have an interesting relationship with Andrew Tate. I think it's something that people always talk to you about, I'm sure.
Who's Andrew Tate?
He's a guy that was on the
Real
internet.
famous
and
guy.
Then, I think he went to prison or something.
Super smart. Handsome. That son of a bitch. Yeah, I know him.
Well, what's kind of been cool or fun is to watch people not know what to make of this guy, right?
Yeah.
And you too. I think you guys are very similar this way. But people just don't know what to make of it. And I love watching it because, again, a person that's tapped in can recognize truth when he hears it. And people don't like that. And so people will try to do anything they can to tear those people down. You've kind of had an inside view of kind of, who that person really is. And I think I just would love to hear your opinion of like something that you've learned that people wouldn't know by having friends like that are so sure and confident in themselves and unapologetically who they are and constantly doing the work to better themselves. That's one thing I love about Andrew Tate is he's constantly obsessed with becoming a better version of himself, and he's not afraid to share those wins publicly.
No, I think that the way that Andrew goes about it is a beautiful way to go about it. I think he goes about it two ways. One is motivational, and one he pisses people off. So he can go from, hey, you could have this life that you want, to, hey, you fucking brokey, are you tired of being a little bitch yet? And different men, and I think people don't understand this, especially very soft people, that sometimes men respond better to things that will make them angry versus things that will pull them up.
Well, I had a guy that I'm coaching right now. He sent me a text literally today when I was at the gym, and he was like making all these excuses for why he can't continue on in the program. And I said, dude, when are you going to choose yourself? You're just full of excuses. And that's what I said. And he came back. He's like, hey man, can we talk? I do want to do this. I need your help.
Right.
But it was like, I had to hit him in a way. I said, dude, you're just full of excuses. When is enough enough? When are you going to actually choose yourself? And to your point, men need to be talked to a different way sometimes to motivate them differently.
Right. And I think he does a really good job of encapsulating all of those things. I think he touches all of those particular points. I don't really touch calling people broken shit as much. Like, it doesn't feel as good on my heart than I'm assuming it feels to him.
Sure.
But he also knows the importance of that trigger. And I know that trigger's out there. So I don't personally feel the need to do it. You know, I look at us and I truly believe he looks at us as a team. You know, a lot. I think for that reason, he covers that base, and I might cover some of the stuff that, you know, I often say my ideal version of a man is someone that can hold a baby and slit a throat in the same day. But what I'm really getting at is there can be a compassionate side to masculinity.
Yeah.
Andrew probably won't talk on that as much, but I can tell you he's wonderful in person.
Yeah.
Tristan has his own attributes and things that he brings. Actually, probably one of the wisest guys I know. Just super hyper intelligent guy, but has a big heart, and he's very good with people as well. He's very, very good with people. Andrew's a little colder. You know, he's a little slower to befriend somebody, which makes him a lot more valuable. He's more scarce. I think he knows that. He's like stupid intelligent himself.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what's funny about people that, I mean, anytime you blow up like that on the internet, you're so intelligent to be able to pull that off, to be able to do that.
Right.
There's a level of intelligence and social intelligence, just, you know, understanding social dynamics and people and, you know, attraction, all those different things that is just otherworldly. And if
1,000%,
you don't get that without it.
You know, and I think you have to have all of those different things. You know, somebody said something to me the other day. They said for a guy of your status and level to be able to go on podcasts and get asked about Andrew every time and not have an issue with it, which I genuinely do not.
Sure.
I love I love him. Like, I love both of them. Like, we're like this. You could ask me about him the whole podcast. I'm not insecure about that. You know, and I think that's something special that I bring to it that maybe some people wouldn't be able to handle. You know, feeling like they were sitting in his shadow or something like that. I fucking love that guy, bro.
That's a good point, man. It's like so many people wouldn't be okay with that.
I know who the fuck I am.
I remember when Charlie Murphy, did you remember the Chappelle show when Charlie Murphy would go on, and I went and listened to his stand-up one time, and he's like, you know, because he'd always be like, Charlie Murphy, and he's like, the way they would say it was all crazy, and he's like, people come up to me every day and they say Charlie Murphy, and he goes, people ask me, does that bother you? And he goes, well, it sure as hell beats Eddie Murphy's brother all day long.
Yeah,
you know, but like most people would never be okay with that, but it's true. It's like when you are secure in yourself and you know you want your buddies to be propped up at all times, and you have to pay attention. This is one of the things I've learned about friendships, man. You really got to pay attention to how people's energy is when you get propped up and they're not.
I don't mean to cut you off, but it's an honor to do that for my friends.
Yeah, I love that.
Loyalty has nothing to do with extrinsic. Loyalty is inside you. You knowing that you're loyal to that guy. You knowing that you're one of few men on the planet that can stand inside his fire and be his friend like that. So for me, I take that loyalty very personally because it's not so, it is about Andrew and T, but it's really about me doing what I know I want to do as a person that is vowed to ride with them to the end.
Yeah, most people, they'll, you know, allow people to talk negatively when you're not there, but then they'll kiss your ass to your face.
Right.
And what a good friend does is if you're not there, he has
Talks
your back to the end, and to your face he'll tell you what you're doing wrong.
Words we can't say. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to see the best advice you have for young men, and then the best advice you have for young women to navigate this crazy ass world that we live in. The book I just came out with, it's called Be One. It comes from the Marcus Aurelius quote, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. And then the subtitle is how to be a healthy man in toxic times. We really live in these weird toxic times like we talked about earlier with social media. So what's your best advice to young men? Because it's a lot of the people that look up to you and are following you. And then what's your best advice for young women that as well?
Yeah, great question. So for young men, you have to understand and accept that life is going to be very, very hard. But that should make you excited. Because if you can dedicate yourself to doing the work that it takes to separate yourself from everyone else, you have a very unfair advantage on the other side.
It's beautiful.
You have an abundance of choice. You have complete freedom in your life. You can say what you mean, not go around it in a certain way. You can live your own truth. For young women, don't buy into the things that society is telling you need to do. Understand that the things you do today could cost you the man you're looking for tomorrow. And I'm not downing you for having a business or an OnlyFans account or a big Instagram with you in a bikini. Just take into consideration if that's not actually where your heart is, then you can get it another way and find yourself in a position in getting what you actually probably want if you're honest. And that's a good relationship with somebody you really look up to and call your hero at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The guy that you want to have as children. Consider it, at least.
I think anytime you're trying to get that outside validation, you know you're doing something that's going to cost you down the line.
And I think that the most important thing about that for young women is that a man that meets you after you've not done some of those things, not because you didn't know, because you chose to go against the grain, you chose to think for yourself, you chose not to get pressured into something, he'll respect you. Mm-hmm. And respect equals love in both directions. So stay true to yourself. Don't get pressured into being somebody you don't want to be, because it could cost you everything that you actually want. That's what I would tell a young girl.
If you don't fail, you're not even trying. I'll say it again. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. My wife told me this great expression. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. Les Brown's a motivational speaker. He made an analogy about this. He says, imagine you're on your deathbed, and standing around your deathbed are the ghosts representing your unfulfilled potential. The ghost of the ideas you never acted on, the ghost of the talents you didn't use, and they're standing around your bed, angry, disappointed, and upset. They say, we came to you because you could have brought us to life, they say. And now we have to go to the grave together. So I ask you today, how many ghosts are going to be around your bed when your time comes? You'll see what I mean about taking risk or being willing to fail. Because taking risk is not just about going for a job. It's also about knowing what you know and what you don't know. It's about being open to people and to ideas. Because the chances you take, the people you meet, the people you love, the faith that you have, that's what's going to define you. Never be discouraged. Never hold back. Give everything you got. And when you fall throughout life, and maybe even tonight after a few many glasses of champagne, remember this: fall forward.
And there's no shortcut. You can't buy a book, you can't attend a course, you can't listen to anyone. You see, you can't be taught anything. I cannot teach you anything. You have to decide to teach yourself. I can guide you, but ultimately you, in any endeavor in life, be it sport, be it politics, be it education, you have to want it yourself. And that's what separates the 99% with the 1%, the ones that truly dream and dare and go for their goals and their vision. And that's the Pareto principle all over. Do you run away from something? Do you run towards something? Failure is a compelling protagonist towards achieving your goals. So use failure. Be scared. Be very scared of failure, and you will succeed. The most successful minds in the world, they are profoundly scared of going bust, and they work double hard. There is no magic pill. Here in Las Vegas, you have a resident called Andre Agassi, and he was a tremendous inspiration to me when he slipped from number 1 in the tennis world down to 173, and then made his way back up to number 1. The only way you do that is through sheer grit and determination.